I'm just using my phone right now.
Yeah,
I
same.
got
What
it.
are you using that
I,
IV cam?
um, what do you mean? I'm just using the regular camera that's in the fucking phone, but I got a brand new phone like a week ago. Some Moto stylish shit, and the camera's really dope, but I haven't figured out all the settings, so it's doing bullshit like that. It's doing like going off and not staying bright enough or whatever because I'm brown. But anyway, we are live, so welcome to the Street Shaman Podcast. It's also a swap cast with my dude Nick Johnson here. What's the name of your show?
Riffin with Nick, and I have a podcast called Sponsor This, which we're trying to get off the ground with another animator. That's the one you should
Okay.
go follow.
Sponsor this.
Yeah, on YouTube.
Okay. What kind of podcast is that?
It's basically like a whole podcast of fictitious ad reads, and the whole time we're just talking about how we're gonna get into some kind of conspiracy theory, but the whole time we're like, oh, one more ad read, man, one more, and then by the end of it, we never get to anything.
So
So
it's
basically, the opposite of yours.
okay. So you guys are just actually doing ads?
Yeah, but we're not getting paid to do that. We're literally just doing dumb reads the whole time.
Okay.
So it's the
How many?
absence of substance, where yours is like getting to like the actual fucking nature of reality, you know?
Well, yeah, man. I mean, so far, well, what I've been doing was trying to gather my words and trying to talk honestly, which is like it's the
Hmm.
opposite of what somebody else would do, where they'll script the shit and then they'll be like, actually, and then every 2 seconds, the shit a clip and they clip in and they're so perfect and shit. And me, I'm just like, well, I fucked up there. I guess I goofed. All right, well, let's keep this shit going.
Yeah,
You're a comedian, right? You done some stand up here and there. I'm assuming, right?
yeah, like every day for like 2.5 years until the pandemic.
Okay, no doubt. So you was actually getting your reps in. So Ari Shafir, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, that's why I'm trying to model the podcast like uh Ari
Like a topic.
Shafir. Uh, Not so much. I don't want to just bite off of his shit, so I'm not gonna go topic wise, but more or less like the way he riffs, the way he riffs before he even brings in a guest. He riffs for like fucking 20, 30 minutes and then he brings in a guest. I actually like most of the time I like that part more. I like when he's actually riffing and shit and just talking about whatever and you know what I mean? You can see him
Hmm.
catching his thoughts and oh shit, actually this. So I write some shit down sometimes. Like right now, I'm not writing shit down because I got somebody to bounce ideas with. But if I'm
Yeah.
by myself, I might write a couple ideas down, some sentences that mean something that could take me to a fucking story, and then I just go off of all the bullshit that I've been through. Because I definitely lived like a vagabond life. I've lived a nomad life. I've toured and I've also just traveled on some like jump on the Greyhound by myself when I had an iPod Touch. I didn't even have a phone. So I'll either talk to you when I got Wi-Fi or I won't talk to you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah. Wait,
but I would
so
just go ahead.
I mean, like, I know this is your podcast and you're supposed to be like, I don't even know like what the fuck is the format of a podcast, but I have like a million questions for you because you're like 10 years into the game, right? Of, I guess, artistry in different forms.
Yeah, I would say like 15 years actually doing it, doing shows, doing performances, promoting. I actually performed and promoted parties, like team parties when I was 15, 16 years old. So I've been doing this shit forever. I've been doing this shit forever in
And
all different ways.
are you like super jaded from it? Like, like all the veteran comics I know are just like, there's no point to this.
um, yeah, I'm definitely jaded because it's like it's hard for me to make a song nowadays because like this shit doesn't matter. And I think that has to do with I think that has to do with a lot of it. The reason why we end up doing this shit and getting on a stage, uh, or for whatever reason, is because we think we're gonna do something grandiose. Like we have this is delusion of grandeur to, you know what I mean? Like we're gonna make it out somehow, and then like especially now with the pandemic, you see a lot of motherfuckers that got money that actually are successful and they losing their shit, or they they're actually fighting for the little bit that they still own now because the shit is everything's going to hell.
Oh, dude, it's everything is disappearing. Like people who've worked their whole life for something. I'm watching like so many people who I mean, even just the gym, dude. Like I love going to the gym, and so many guys that I know like that are obsessed with the gym. It's like totally fucked like your mental
Hmm.
health up, just on a base level.
Right. If everything stops, like me, I'm mostly a hermit, so like this didn't really affect me as much. I just been trying to put up memes and like trying to keep everybody laughing, or like, just if you're angry, here's something to be angry about. Like
Isn't that the bitch of it? Is like you worked 15 years like day in and day out to become like a recording artist. And the following that we all know you for is like curating memes.
yeah, 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 definitely. It's like it's just the way of the world today, man. It's like most of these guys, even the ones that are making the millions, unless you've been out like earlier of 2008, you kind of got to do some type of antics to get your song out there and shit like that. And I kind of refuse to do the antics. That's the reality of it. Like the comedic bone. I have the ballsiness to really go and do the shit and do a 6ix9ine shit or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
the reality of who I am, like before, like because I've been through some spiritual awakenings and like some epiphanies from psychedelics or whatever. But the reality of who I was before that, and who I can still see myself being, like I can still go in that part of my brain and be like, I can be exactly like this, is a 6ix9ine, is a dude
Mhm.
that can, go above and beyond and do all the antics to get to get some type of spotlight on me. But I got too old for that shit. I'm a little bit too old. I got like some awareness, so I can't go all the way. You know what I mean? Like the old
Yeah.
me would have did this shit perfectly. Cause if you really look at my shit on Instagram, I'm putting up some stuff like little by little. But if you look at my throwbacks, you look at the antics that I did, a lot of the shit that 6ix9ine did outside of the gang membership, like jumping in front of a big group of gang members and making a big spectacle out of that. A lot of the shit that he did and a lot of things that he touches upon and plays around with, I've already did like 10 years ago. Me and my homies, we were on tour and we all did that shit. And we all came from the same cloth as that dude. The
Mhm.
same scene. You know about the scene, like scene kids, like you know about Crunkcore.
What is it?
Crunkcore, you ever heard of Crunkcore?
I mean, I've
How old are
heard of
you?
it, but I don't know what it is. 26?
26. Okay. Because my girl is 26, but she knows about Concord. This was a big thing. This was back in the MySpace trash era,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, no, I remember. Yeah.
One of the big bands that actually was like super popular for being the most hated man was Broken Side. If you look them up, they still get put in playlists and like top tens of worst hated bands. I actually got a song and a video with the main dude from Broken Side.
Okay.
We were doing that same. It was the same lane. It's the same lane as the 6ix9ine. That before he even did his shit by himself, he was doing shit with City Morgue. You know about City Morgue?
No.
Okay, so
I'm
what kind
not
of music
like,
you listening to? What kind
dude,
of music you listen to?
I mean, like, fucking everything. That's the problem. I don't like get into rabbit holes. Like yeah, metal, punk, rap. So I listen to like 90s rap a lot of the time. So it's not like I'm going deep in new music. That's why I feel like it's weird. Like the music scene now, I understand on a level why they have to pander to like high school age kids because at a certain age, like your brain is just like, I don't want anything new. Like the genre of music that my brain has already like adapted to in high school, that's all you end up listening to as an adult.
Exactly, 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 exactly. And I listen to a lot of like I think the bulk of what I listen to ends up being early adulthood, like basically 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. That's the shit that I listen to every day. Outside of maybe I'll grab a new fucking a new song here and there that I'll really gravitate to and be like, yes, this is my shit. But the shit that makes me feel something, that makes me cry, that makes me get in my feels, that makes me want to do something creative, that's the shit from back then. So
Mm-hmm.
when I put out like the last Potent the Rockstar shit I put out, I tried my best anyway without uh compromising my integrity on who I am to cater to those kids. You know what I mean? To cater to
Mm-hmm.
somebody a little bit younger. That way they can pick it up and take it with them. Because I see a lot of motherfuckers putting out emo music and shit, but they're not giving them the any kind of hope, any kind of way out. It's just completely the world is shit. I should just die right now. Let me do a bunch of drugs. I need to get designer clothes so I could be fresh like everybody else. And I'm
Yeah.
trying to,
No.
you know what I mean? And it's kind of like the conscious, like you listen to conscious rap, you listen to 90s shit. I'm assuming it's going to be 50-50 conscious rap, maybe some
Well,
gangster shit in there.
well, yeah, but here's the thing: like, comedy is what I listen to more. You know, like I listen to stand-up comedy. Growing up, I would listen to like Doug Stanhope,
Right. Yeah, I know
like
Doug.
comics like that, like dark comics, and like it's the same thing. Like, life is shit. We're all gonna die, and there's no meaning. And like, there's not a lot of comedy that's just like it's shit, but like you can find a place that's good, because it's not funny to find like the what is it, the silver lining. So yeah, I would say until I did psychedelics, I was in like the darkest thought holes, and it's because like all media is just like pushed with like a one dimensional aspect like that.
Right. So you were what kind of media were you absorbing at the time that was fucking you up, that you felt was fucking you up?
I mean, like, I'm fucked up. Like, you gravitate towards fucked up shit because you're fucked up, from like, trauma as a kid and shit. But like, stuff like that. Doug Stanhope, Bill Hicks.
Yeah.
A lot of comics that overdosed on drugs, and like, I'm sober now. So, uh,
Okay, so you were doing drugs. What drugs were you doing?
I mean, like, I did everything. I did like fucking benzos, and like I would always go through cycles of doing shit and then getting clean, but not really understanding that it, like, this is a lifelong thing. I can't keep trying shit out. And you know what kratom is?
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems innocuous, but it really fucking took a hold of me, and that's really the thing that was like, oh fuck, I
Yeah.
gotta stop.
Yeah.
I,
If we're being honest here and shit, we talking honestly and shit. I definitely was on Kratom for like a year and a half. It helped me. It helped me because I got really deep into the Kratom shit, so I knew the difference. The difference between the green and the reds and the whites, and you got to know golds and this is dragon. Like I got deep into that shit. Yes, I
yeah,
know
yeah.
about that shit, Nick. I know about it.
It's
Yo,
like the same with weed when they're trying to like, yeah, well, this weed will do that. It all gets you high. It's just getting you high.
right, it's all getting you high, but
Yeah.
the reds would get you like more of a body high, more of like if you popped a little perk or something, and then the greens will get you like right in the middle. That's usually what I like to do. Like even to this day, I don't fuck with the kratom. I think about it every now and then. I'd be like, should I just get a little kratom? Cause me, I'm a dabbler. I'll go hard for like for most things, I'll go hard for like 2 weeks and then I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Like not hard, but I'll do it every day. That's my hard. Like I'll be like, yo, I've been drinking too fucking much, and I've been drinking almost every day, but maybe like 3-4 beers, regular
See, but
beers, and I'm like,
I,
I'm drinking too much. I'm doing this too much because it's every day. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, it adds up. Do you feel like it puts like it makes you feel like you're living in Seattle, Like it's just like it's not like it's fucking your life up, but it's just like everything just seems like it's always fucking overcast out. You know what I mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean? What's making me feel like I'm in Seattle?
I mean, like, at least for me, when I was like taking kratom every day, it's not like it was ruining my life, but someone explained it to me this way. They're like, it feels like life is in like a sepia tone. Like everything has like a filter of just like meh. It's all right. You know, maybe not. I don't know.
Okay. No, okay. I can see that. I can see that. Cause look, at this time, when I was taking my kratom heavy, a lot of it had to do with just being depressed, being in a fucked up situation. So like when you're taking a lot of shit, like right now I'm drinking because you can't really go outside and do what you want to do. I mean, I can go outside and walk, go take a walk, but it's like I don't even have like an idea that maybe later I can walk into a store and we can meet up with somebody and go chill and shit. Like I'm either gonna walk around, I can go to the store, do I got my mask, put my mask on, social distancing. That's just whack. I don't want to deal with none of that shit. I don't want to deal with none of that. I really don't. I really don't. So if I don't have to, I don't go out. I just chill. But that's, you know what I mean? That's why
Yeah,
I'm like I'm drinking. That's why I'm drinking a little bit, I'm drinking every day, having a couple beers to be like, all right, let me be loose, let me play around and shit. Cause it ain't much to do. It ain't fucking much to do. But with kratom, I was so depressed and shit that like that was actually giving me a boost. That was actually letting me go full steam into whatever the fuck I was doing. Because like I said, I was doing the greens. So the green made me a little bit speedy. So I would just bury myself into work. At that time, I was working like 75 hours a week, and I didn't give a fuck. What do you need me to do? You need me to grab this shit and bring it all the way over there? All right, cool. I'll go grab it. And, you know what I mean? And just, I'll
oh
take
yeah.
my kratom and I'll just keep it moving. But
So
when, like,
let me ask you if to like try to help anyone who's listening, what would you say to like a kid who, because obviously you stopped taking kratom, and I'm guessing like it's a gradient of like feelings. How what lifts you from one level of depression maybe to a higher like a higher light or whatever,
without anything you're saying?
or I mean just what like lifts you up enough to be like, all right, well, I don't need something to not like to be able to still function okay in life.
Okay. Me personally, um, I still smoke weed, so I can't really say nothing. Like, it's still like an addictive habit to smoke some fucking weed.
Hmm.
Um, and then every now and then I'll smoke a little bit of a cigarette or some shit, which is all new, like, which is all pretty much new to me. I started smoking anything in adulthood, like when I was like your age. You get what I'm saying? So that's when I
Yeah, yeah.
started to smoke because everything started to be shit. So I'm like, ah, fuck this. Well, I might as well smoke. Like, life is not gonna be as easy as I thought it was gonna be. Um, but what helps me now is just doing shit like this. Cause this is nerve wracking. You about to get on camera, like, okay, I might be on camera. For instance, there ain't nobody paying attention now. One person came through, so what's up? Ain't nobody paying attention now because it's late. I didn't set it up weeks in advance. I'm never on my YouTube, so this is like, you know, brand new.
Hmm.
Some people will find it tomorrow or whatever, but just being able to do this shit. And before I even got on this shit with you, I was I was on IG Live just testing the camera because I got the shit on a tripod. So I was testing the camera and the tripod to see what's up, to see how this shit was gonna work. And then I got on IG Live, and just the idea of getting on IG Live, and there was like 10, 15 people there, whatever. That made
It's
me
kind of
feel,
it's
what happened?
therapeutic.
It's therapeutic. It also builds confidence. I answered a couple questions. For us, for people like us that are a little bit nutso, and we've been through a lot of shit, and we need
Yeah.
some attention. It's the best thing. So I do a little podcast. I talk my shit. I get my shit talking out the way. You know, and
Damn,
then
you sound like you're
also,
ready to start an OnlyFans, man.
oh, I mean, I
Just
might.
any attention.
No, I used to be crazy with attention. Now I just know that, I know that that's what it is. So I gotta feed myself, but I can't. I'm not doing it in a rude manner. I'm not doing it where I'm being intrusive. Like, that's the type of shit when you're in a room with somebody and everybody's chilling, and somebody, you're having a conversation with your friend over here, Jake, and fucking Ralph don't shut the fuck up because he wants all the attention. So he's just, yo, did you see that one thing? Yo, did you see he got a phone? Yo, did you see that one thing with, like, and you're like, yo, yeah, I seen that, you know. And I know you've been around motherfuckers that are like that. I know you've been around people that
Yeah.
can't help themselves. They jump out the window. I used to be like that. I used to be wholehearted.
Same.
Like now, I could sit there and be like a fucking like a nun or something. Be there like,
Dude, that's why I have to be sober because when I'm on drugs, I love who I am, but everyone else hates who I am. You know what I'm saying?
okay, so you can't control it. I feel you.
Yeah, like the
It's a
dopamine's flowing, and I'm like, ah,
you
I don't shut the fuck up.
you get in the moment, you start talking a lot of shit. Everything is funny to you because you have a comedic mind. So you're like, yo, that's just
Yeah,
funny. If I do this, if I do that, actually I'm being annoying, but it's still kind of funny. Yo, me and
yeah,
my girl do that shit to each other all the time. But we, you know, like I'm a little bit older, so I've done it enough where I've been shamed enough where I know when to pull back. And
yeah,
she doesn't know all the way, so sometimes she pushes my buttons. But I'd be like, yo, we're both kind of the same. We be annoying each other. You gotta chill out,
yeah, yeah.
you know.
Well, that's
But
because we're like in the age of trolls, so everyone, I guess everyone's kind of like, if it's funny to someone watching this conversation, then it's funny. But it's like, I mean, like when you're trying to have a conversation with someone, like I have a friend that fucking trolls our friend group, and we're like, dude, that's not how it works. You're not supposed to piss your friends off. Like
right,
you're just making us angry at you, you know?
yeah, exactly,
But
exactly. And I mean, they do it because they need attention. They can't help themselves. People can't help themselves. They're gone. Like your friend, he can't help himself. Sometimes he can't
yeah.
help himself.
Let me ask you, so why haven't you made any, I mean, maybe you've made music, but I only follow you on YouTube because I don't have Spotify. And it looks like it's been like almost a year since you put out uh any content.
Well, I haven't put out any Potent the Rockstar shit because I've been actually like right behind me is my little ass studio. You see the little mic is like right there. Bow.
Yeah.
Um, so I just got that shit like a month ago, like the full setup where I can record. But I've been working on beats because I'll usually work with different producers, and that means another person, another ego. And even if you pay a motherfucker, sometimes they don't do it, you know, to the best of their ability because they're like, whatever, I ain't got no passion into it. And I wanted to be the, you know what I mean? I wanted
Yeah,
to
yeah.
kind of be the best that I can do to put it out there. So I just been on the whole trying to work on my music, work on the actual beat making myself, and get comfortable, get familiar with that shit. So I actually put out 2 weeks ago. I want to say it's 2 weeks now. I put out Shamanic Poe, music to the spirit world, which is a trip hop experimental, like industrial type, just basically instrumentals. And then that's just so now I'm doing that's Shamanic Poe. That's something like the name that I got there. That's something different. And I split two, you know, now I'm doing two different genres, two different type of projects. So that way, because of the pandemic and everything like that, my idea is once I build up enough catalog, then I can just start firing at will, putting the rock shit, shamanic post shit, podcast. So it's just basically now I'm gonna just hammer home and just little by little build up catalog, build up more of a following, and just have fun with it. So that's
Right
what I'm
on.
doing now. What the fuck are you doing now that you ain't got no fucking stand up unless you're going to Wisconsin? You out in Wisconsin? You getting that
Uh
Wisconsin stand up time or what?
no, I'm out in Chicago. Where are you at?
I'm 40 minutes
Oh,
from Chicago. I'm in Carpentersville,
was that south of
north.
the city, north of the city? Okay.
Hmm.
Do you
It's
ever
like,
you head into the city ever, or I mean, obviously not when the pandemic's happening.
nah, I haven't head to the city in a minute since I've been down here. Usually, usually I don't even go in the city. I've been to the city maybe 3 or 4 times, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And it like, or maybe to just get picked up from the Greyhound station or some shit like that. Um, Usually I'm out in the outskirts. I got a couple people that, like right now, I live in Carpentersville. I knew my girl since the first tour that I was on and shit. 9 years ago. Like we met 9 years ago. So I knew her since then. So
How old was she? How old is she?
she's 26.
Nine,
She about to be
26 minus 9. I'm
do the
not a
math.
mathematician, but she was underage, bud. You better
I,
never break up or she'll cancel you.
no, she can't cancel me. She can't cancel me. She loved me too much, and she was actually 18 because the tour is actually I want to say if 9 years officially would be in about 3 weeks, and her birthday is actually officially in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. So
Wait,
she
how old
was
are you?
actually 18. I'm 33.
30. Oh, okay. Okay. You're not that old.
Yeah, so no, she's not gonna cancel me, and like I ain't doing no bullshit. Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you. I went on tour with Blood on the Dance Floor. You don't know about these different bands and shit because you're not really into that scene shit. But a lot of these niggas were scumbags. These dudes are actually doing fucking of the underage
Oh,
girls. You know what I mean? And a lot of bands do this shit. Let's be real. A lot of bands do this shit. I don't know the bands like that. The only bands that I know that I toured with was Blood on the Dance Floor, and he's been outed. And people, you know what I mean? People know about his whole shit,
well,
and he's
dude,
kind
there's
of went
like,
underground with it.
it's always been like, there's that book about how Led Zeppelin brought like a 14-year-old on tour. And like, we all
Elvis,
know, even in high school, you remember like, there was always that girl in your freshman year who was like fucking some guy in college. You're like, I don't know if this is legal or I should tell someone.
right? That's the weird shit. You know, we're talking about cancel culture and Me Too movement right now, but that's the weird shit about it because we all know people. Come on, man, you knew the guy that came through in the Civic. You know, when everybody was 15 and
Always the
bummy,
Civic.
and he came through in the bumping Civic with the nice system and the bullshit, you know, and the nice little painted rims or whatever. And he was scooping the girls. He was taking the girls. We were salty. We were salty. We were sitting there salty, like, ah, man. Of course she went with him. Of course. Look at the car. We ain't got no car. We can't even drive, especially in New Jersey. You can't drive till you're 17, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you already knew he had to be past 17 and he wasn't going to school no more. So, you know, he didn't go to school with us. He just pulled up and picked him up after lunch and shit and took him with him. Like,
Very fucking creepy, dude. Very creepy. But you
exactly. And
never.
band dudes, go ahead.
Nah, I was just piggybacking on that. What were you saying?
You no, and band dudes, man, like the dude that's under investigation, I don't know if they're really gonna catch this guy or not because a lot of this shit was legal ish. Like the
Like age of
chick,
consent.
yeah, the age of consent, and if you get the parents' consent at 16, and he'll do all the gymnastics. He would go to the house. Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Blah blah. Oh, I'm gonna bring her on tour with me across state line. And mom's is like, sounds good to me. Have fun. Because what you gonna say to a chick from like the trailer parks or from the boonies that's getting this opportunity to be on tour with some dude that's selling out shows? Because
Right.
it wasn't like he was doing 150, 200. Like there's a lot of bands that are signed to motherfuckers and they doing 200 people, 150. He was doing 700, 1,000 by himself, not signed to nobody. So if he just came up to the door and, hey, I came to pick up your daughter, and the daughter got all the posters and shit on the wall, the mom's gonna be like, as long as you take care of her, nine
But
out of
why?
ten. There'll be moms that bring their fucking daughters. Hey, get with her. She's
What?
16, but I'll let you.
Why would they go? Like, what I can't understand. Why would they go through those fucking hoops? Like, why don't they just go for a girl who's like 18 or older?
It's the power thing, man. It's the power thing. You know, it's like it's one power, and then two, the girl that he ends up or they end up messing with, she usually is like one of the prettier ones, one of the more popular ones that are in that scene that goes to a high school that has, you know, say 1,000 kids or whatever, and everybody knows that girl. Now she's messing with this dude in the band. She starts telling people that, but it's all hearsay, it's all rumor, and it just makes the band bigger, whether people like it or whether people hate on it, whether they go, oh, that motherfucker's a pedo, or well, that bitch is bullshitting, or whatever it is. It brings light, or she, even if she don't say, hey, I'm fucking and sucking this dude, you know what I mean, she goes, let's be real, she'll go to school and just be like, I was on the phone with this dude from this band. Oh, you haven't heard of this band? Check him out now. Boom, 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 boom. He does this, he does that, he does this, he does that. And she won't shut the fuck up because she's a little kid. You get what I'm saying?
No,
And that'll
yeah,
help. It's funny, right? It's crazy to think about.
it's boots on the ground networking through pedophilia. It's like because I guess back then everything was.
Yeah. I mean, nowadays, to be quite frank, nowadays, um, almost, I want to say there's a big bulk because of social media and shit. Because that was the beginning of the shit. That was MySpace, early Facebook. That was the beginning of the shit. And nowadays, because everybody's so engulfed into the social media world, everybody can get swindled. A 40-year-old person can be a fangirl.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I know what you're talking
You get
about.
what I'm saying?
The first like actual like relationship I had with a girl was a girl I met from a town over on MySpace. So like that's day one. Like you realize as a kid, you're like, this is way easier because like you don't have to deal with the anxiety of like saying hi for the first time in person.
Right. You get on that phone, you start talking for a little bit. If the shit don't work, you just, all right, let me talk to you later, boom, and you never talk again. If the
Yeah,
shit
no,
works, then you're sitting there like, oh yeah, what you mean this? Oh nah, I like this. No, I like that. Oh yeah, what's up? So what you wearing right now? What kind of color panties you got? You got panties on or nah? And then everybody gets on their creep shit, and then it's like, what's up? And then you just set up a plan, meet up with them, gang, bang, bang, bang. You know what I mean? What's up, Ren? How you doing? I see you in there. I see you. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. This was on the fly, so there ain't nobody watching, but I appreciate you doing so. So yeah, that shit is, you know what I mean?
yeah,
That shit is crazy. Like, um, just the idea of that shit, like, and nowadays they're making it a big deal, but in America, because there's a lot of countries that don't even give a fuck about that shit. Like their age limit is like 14.
yeah.
But here that's like blasphemy. And it's disgusting. It is disgusting. Let's be real. It's disgusting. But it's like sometimes like it's not so disgusting. If the kid's 20 years old and he's dumb as rocks,
Yeah. I
he
mean,
ain't
most 20-year-old.
manipulating a he ain't manipulating a 16-year-old girl. She probably got him. She probably got him. Cause I'll be honest with you, bro. I was dumb as rocks. There was early 20s. I only wanted them 18, 19. You get what I'm saying? I'm like, nah. I'm in my early 20s. I'm like 22, 23, 18, 19. I didn't want to date a girl that was 21 because I knew she was out of my league. She probably was going to be smarter than me because I was dumb as rocks. So I ended up getting with a chick that was 18, right?
Yeah.
At this time, I just came off a Warp Tour. I just did Vans Warp Tour,
Oh shit.
right? And I just did Vans Warp Tour, and I'm 24, and I'm dating a girl that's 18, and I'm pussy whooped. And I'm pussy whooped.
She got you.
Had me by the balls. She was 18, but she knew how to cook. She was cooking shit. She told me, sit your ass down over there. I was like, okay. Sat my ass down. She was just there cooking me soups and making me things on the fly. Real shit. Pulling. She was from Wisconsin. She was pulling fucking things out of the farm and making it fresh. And I was just like stunned because I'm a city cat. I ain't know nobody that knew how to fucking pull out the natural herbs that wasn't already fucking Mrs. Dash or whatever.
Yeah.
She was doing this shit from scratch. I was there like, oh shit, this girl got me. Plus she was like, for people that will listen to this later or whatever, they know about personality disorders a little bit. She was histrionic personality disorder. She was where histrionic, Nick, for you that might not know, that's the Kim Kardashians of the world. That's the girls that use their sexuality, overuse their sexuality to feel good about themselves and to get attention from other people. So she
So
would,
any chick on Instagram.
not any chick on Instagram, because some girls are trying it and they failing, or they're trying it and they dabbling with it, and maybe one day they feel good, another day they don't feel good. I'm talking about a girl that walks around with short shorts, half her ass is out in the middle of the winter
With a boyfriend
with the
next to her.
boyfriend next to her. And me, I'm cool. I'm like, yo, go ahead, just show that shit, show that ass, smacking it and shit, being a retard. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's the reality. That's where you end up getting, like when you dumb as rocks and you just think, okay, well, this girl, I'm gonna have this girl forever. Like, you don't own
Mhm.
nobody. Dumb as fuck.
But that
Dumb as
goes
fuck.
back to like we don't see the fucking gray area of anything anymore. It's like black or white. And like you
Right.
saw how Crystalia got canceled, right?
Correct.
And
Correct.
it
And that's
it
the
was just for talking to the younger girls, finding out they were too young and then stopping talking to them. But just for engaging anyways, it got him canceled. And it's like,
because
sure, even if he fucked the 17-year-old, it's not pedophilia. It's definitely creepy, but it's not like
yeah.
he's like going for a 10-year-old, you know? It's like
Right,
a
right. Right. It's not like the girl looks like a little kid. Yo, she likes little kid looking motherfuckers. Like this guy likes to fuck little kid looking motherfuckers. It's
right.
not that. He likes to fuck barely legal or whatever. Yeah, it's creepy, it's disgusting, but come on, man. It's not like the end of the world. The girl knew what she was doing, what she was gonna learn in 5 months from when she talked to him.
Right.
What was she gonna learn? What epiphany was she gonna have that was gonna change her whole worldview or something with this dude? These
Right.
girls were, the story. These girls are girls that hit people up and they want to fuck and they're not old enough to get on this ride. That's what we would say on tour. Now you're not old enough for this ride. You got to fall back. You know what I mean? Like come back a little bit, come back later. Like your ID's invalid. We'll say shit like that, right? But that's all he was doing. He did a little check. He was like, nah, not good enough. We're gonna keep it pushing. And that got her salty, like a lot of girls would, especially in today's society where a lot of people are very narcissistic, very entitled. They feel like they deserve something. So she probably was getting her hopes up in her brain. Oh, when I turn 18, Chris D'Elia gonna take me into fucking paradise with him. I'm gonna go, you know what I mean? I'm gonna go up into the
Yeah.
clouds with Chris D'Elia. And then it didn't happen. And then
Salty. Yeah. But that's the
it's
thing, like you could catch heat for having this position publicly. Like people could cancel you for just being like there's a difference between fucking a kid and it's like how all parents know kids are going to drink alcohol when they first go to college even though they're not legally supposed to drink. Like there's that gray area.
exactly, exactly.
But
It's yeah, man. Nowadays, this is crazy. This is crazy. So what's going on with you, man? Have you gotten into any heartbreak? Why is your life shit? I know why my life shit. Why is your life shit?
I mean you just like you get older and I think like the older I get, I'm realizing like there was so much fucking potential for shit that you do as a kid and you don't put 100% into it or you like jump around between you get like just at the precipice of mastering something and you're like I want to try a new thing and start over because it's like the chase, it's like chasing getting good at something rather than mastering it. And I think that's like a lot of the regret I have is like even now I'm like questioning not going back to stand up because I'm like, well, I got pretty fucking good at it. I didn't get really good at it. And like this is giving me the out to be like, yeah, I could just try something new. But at the end of the day, it's like it's the same cycle of like, not
Right.
getting
So
right.
you trying something new. That's kind of like me. I do that shit too. I like to try new shit. And once I kind of know what I'm doing, it's kind of boring to me.
Mm-hmm.
So what is gonna be the new thing for you that you're gonna leave comedy behind altogether?
I mean, like, dude, I just love like entertaining people ever since I was a kid, Probably like that attention thing we were talking about. Um, But yeah, I like coming from the East Coast, you know what it's like out here, like in the city at least. Like it's super like material like jokes that I would do out on the East Coast that would kill. I came here and I like was basically like I had like this non-binary person. She's is like a chick basically. But she like basically like tried to cancel me like, the first couple months I was in Chicago because I did like a joke that's like ironic. You can't be ironic out here. You have to just like say declarative statements as punchlines. Like the joke was, I'm trying to think. Oh, okay. So it was the women's wage gap. It was about that, and I was like I don't think the women's wage gap is good, but I understand it. You know, like women get free shit all the time. You know, like drugs. Sometimes they don't even know they're getting free drugs. You know, that guy is such a gentleman. He didn't even want the $20 for that pill in her drink. Like, you know, and it's obviously like just like a ironic bullshit. Like it's meaningless joke. But you got to have meaning behind everything you say now, or you're like a monster. You're not allowed to troll in the age of trolling, which is a fucking bitch.
I mean, but you weren't really trolling. I mean, it was tongue in cheek, but at the same time, it's kind of true. They do get some free shit. Like, you know, they go walk into the club by them, you know, for free sometimes. They can come in, coke up their nose, you know. Dude is like, yo, what's up? What you doing? You want to come smoke this L? I don't get no dudes calling me, telling me that you want to smoke this weed with them. You know, they're not sharing their weed with me, but they're sharing their weed with this girl and that girl. It is true, but it's funny, and a lot of girls don't want to hear that shit, man, because they really there's a lot of girls out there that really are just trying to they. I don't know if they really think that they're trying to balance something out, or if they're just trying to get revenge. They're just trying to seek revenge, and this is their little niche to poke at dudes or to poke at anything else that's outside of the bubble to get their little fix or some shit.
That makes sense, like a roundabout way. Because like I've definitely had issues with people, but I didn't address them. So then it'll just be like something in your subconscious. So when someone else does something that you perceive to be like a similar threat, you're like, whoa, 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 stop it right there. But it's like that person didn't have any malintentions. They were just, you know, fucking around.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I was thinking about that actually the other day. I was thinking about that the other day. Um, because of myself. Like when I was super depressed, and this is probably what is going on. They probably like because you know there's a woke movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Woke movement to me nowadays, it's also like the Me Too and all they're depressed. They just came to a realization of something, and now they're depressed, and because they're depressed, they can't even find most things funny.
Yeah.
Things that are funny gotta be like damn near intellectually,
Yeah. George
like
Carlin type shit.
yeah, it needs to be cut to their liking. Everything else, it can't be found funny because it's like, oh, you offended that group. Oh, you might offended that group. Oh, that hurts because I actually know somebody somewhere down the line in high school that was actually paralyzed, so that hurts them and that hurts me. And it's like, dude, that person didn't even hear what I said, or or where I'm coming from with that shit. Or how about this? How about the people that I know that are paralyzed and going through stuff, and they actually laugh at this shit
Mm-hmm.
because they have a sense of humor because they gotta live with this shit every day. They're not sitting here salty. And a lot of people like to feel entitled, or they like to just try to take attention, like we were talking about earlier, the attention, that drug of attention, and they find anything to poke holes at or to be outraged about.
Right.
And it's like, dude, you're getting offended for somebody that wouldn't get offended. And I know because I did it personally. I used to do that shit all the time with the gay jokes. Remember when gay was like back in the day, 90s, you listen to 90s rap, they dropping a faggot, this, that, and the third here and there, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays it wasn't nowadays is a no-go. That's hate. You know what I mean? That's a hate crime
Mm-hmm.
basically. So I was right in the middle of that. I was right in the beginning part of that because I'm, from the MySpace trash era. I'm from the Concord era, the scene era. All the girls with blue hair, purple hair, green hair now that are in the feminist movement, they were the same type of girls, but they were also in the emo scene movement. that I was a part of, that I used to go do shows, perform, and watch shows. So
Mhm.
I know these girls. These girls are actually very entitled girls. They're very shitty people, and they're very entitled, especially the ones that they're talking outright like that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah.
now the culture just shifted, so you don't know where they're coming from too much on the red and the blue and the green hairs, but they're the same people. They're shitty. They feel shitty about themselves. They hate the world. So everything that they see gets filtered through a negative projection of the world. And that's what, oh, you actually, oh, that guy's cocky. So I'm chilling here talking, and maybe I'll go and, man, you know, I'm nice with it. Just playing around.
Right.
And I can't do, there was such a long time that I couldn't do that shit. And that shit ate away at my soul because I couldn't be myself, because oh, you
Dude,
being too
it's
braggadocious, you being too egoic, when actually I don't have much of an ego, like in that regard. Like I like to talk, but outside of
yeah.
that, and I like to be, performative and joke around, but outside of that, I'm chilling. I'm not here trying to step on nobody's toes or anything.
Yeah, it's about intention. And
And
I
they
mean,
miss
like,
that.
to piggyback on what you were just saying, like full disclosure, so like the first time I did acid, like the first time I really did acid, you ever had an ego death?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I had an ego death, and like totally, like tons of realizations, and one of them was that like I'm very slightly bisexual, right? Like
Okay.
I wouldn't date a guy, but like I have part of that in me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. In what
And
way? You like the dude from the waist up?
I don't even know, dude. Like, just the older I get, I'm like, yeah, no, I could never date a guy. But like, it it's like, it's something that you can't deny is like a part of your sexuality. It's pretty hard to explain. I mean, like, it's such a. This is when I realized that things aren't black and white. There's like a huge gray area to every issue. Um,
So
but like,
you're saying you're bisexual, but you wouldn't do nothing with a man.
yeah, so it's not like 50-50 like people perceive. I mean, I would do stuff with a guy. I have like a couple times, not like that far, like make out, shit like that, like two or three times. But the thing about it is, like, I talk about it in stand up, like it's like a very vulnerable thing to talk about. So like I'd really usually just leave it for the stage because it's the easiest, it's easier to talk to strangers than people about something that personal. Um,
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
and deflect with humor.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, the word faggot, like, I have like friends that are like very very gay, and like you can make gay jokes all day around us as long as it's a joke, you know. Even if it's a bad joke, like we know that you're just trying to be funny. You're not trying to be hateful. Like you can delineate someone's intention pretty fucking easily, So
Right.
like when I'm
Right.
on Call of Duty, people are just saying like faggot or the N word, and it's like I know these are just 15-year-old kids just trying to troll. Like they don't. It's not coming from a place of hate. They're just idiots right now or don't understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
You know.
100%. 100%. And that was kind of my point. My point was I was so offended of people saying the word, right? And I'm tripping out, and I actually have an argument with the dude that's bisexual, a friend of mine that's bisexual. Meanwhile, he's the one saying the word, but he's not
Oh
saying
shit.
it in a malicious way. He was actually just joking around, using the word freely. And I'm in the car with him, and I'm like, "Yo, come on, man, you can't really be using that word. You know, you didn't." And I'm going in on him. Meanwhile, I'm not gay, and he actually is. Like he's married, but he's also openly gay now. At the time, he was a little bisexual, and he told me on the side, like, I'm gay, right? And even
Oh,
at
he
that
didn't
time,
know.
I didn't know. Like he told me
Oh.
a couple times joking around, but I didn't take him serious. So he was like, I'm gay. And meanwhile, I'm like, now you're just gonna say that because
Yeah, yeah.
and that was all because I was looking out into the world in a negative with a negative filter. Now the world was beautiful. Don't get it twisted. The rest of the world was beautiful around me, but the people were just all negative. And everybody does have their negative traits, but I was definitely making them out to be more of a villain than they really were. And
Right.
that was because how my brain was moving. That was how my body was reacting. I wasn't happy. You get what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I see a lot of these people that are in the woke movements and Me Too and trying to cancel people and all this shit like that. It's because you're not happy. Because if you were happy, you wouldn't give a fuck what the next person's doing. You
Right,
wouldn't
right,
have the
right.
time to care about what the next person's doing because you'll be doing you. You'll be just enjoying yourself.
Dude,
You
you
get
made
what
a
I'm saying?
really yeah, yeah, you made a really good point earlier about this. Like you were like they're depressed or maybe they had their first realization and then they became depressed. And I'm just thinking back like I had no idea what depression was. Like I didn't even understand the idea of anxiety was so foreign to me in high school. And then once I got older, I started having like some modicum of self-awareness and that's when the depression starts is when you like start to I guess, be self-aware. Like, do you think like what's the correlation you would, assign to that?
I think 100%. Like you said, when did you start getting depressed? Or when did you start getting realizations?
Um, I guess I started like using alcohol in a destructive way in college and like stopped giving a fuck about doing good at things around like 20 maybe 19 and then like I did acid to try to fix myself and that like put me on the path to like figuring out that I have a ton more work to do to fix myself, you know.
Yeah, man, that's what happens. Like you think you have the grand epiphany, the spiritual awakening, and then you realize, wait a minute, I really ain't shit. I need a lot of work. I got a lot of work to do. That's for me. That's what happened. My ego death. I had it after, obviously after the chick that was showing her fucking buns to everybody in the world with her short shorts. I
Mhm.
had it after a stripper chick tried to accuse me of hitting her, and I was actually put in. I didn't get cuffed, but I got put into the car and everything. I sat in the car, and they were gonna take me away. And she was just so old, like she was nuts. So she was so crazy that she was on the phone acting crazy and talking shit like, yeah, now he in the back of the car and da da da. And then the cop saw like, whoa, you see how he's acting? You see how she's acting? Took me out of the car and was like, just go ahead, man. And then told her, I don't want you seeing him ever again. So after this shit, like literally the day after that, I was like drunk in the mall. I was drinking a Steel Reserve in the mall, in a mall, in the food court, just sitting there with a Steel Reserve, drinking this shit like nobody better tell me a motherfucking thing right now. I don't give a fuck about nothing. I'ma kill myself. I don't care.
Mhm.
And my friend comes up to me, yo, I actually got 3 drugs that I want you to try. It was just the same friend I was saying, the bisexual one, but got 3 drugs I want you to try. I think you're gonna love the Foxy. But first I want you to try Suboxone. I got Suboxone, and then I forgot what else he said. So I took a Suboxone, threw up the whole fucking night, and then ended up taking on an empty stomach, I ended up taking the Foxy, which is 5-MeO, really.
What? You think
So
you
the
would take
first
that first and then the Suboxone after if you started freaking the fuck out?
So I threw up for like 7 hours strong, and then now I'm taking this fucking psychedelic that I never took a day in my life, and everybody fell asleep on me. And then in the morning, it finally hit because it took so long to go through my system. It takes like 2 hours. So in the middle of the morning or whatever, like 5 o'clock in the morning, boom, the Foxy hit. Everybody's asleep. They smashed, they crashed all everywhere. There's like a crash pad, broken couches everywhere, people sleeping on the floor, and I'm like, oh shit, I started getting epiphanies like, oh shit. First thing was like childhood trauma started coming in, manipulations, ways of people trying to treat me a certain way and taking advantage of me or whatever. And then,
Mhm.
okay, so now I got that part. So I hit my cousin up that I used to do Molly with, yo, actually, yo, manipulation, this, that, and the third. Because mind you, I was probably manipulating a bunch of people. Meanwhile, I didn't really realize that I was manipulating people at the time. I just thought that's the way you had to do things to get things done. And
Mhm.
but I was getting manipulated deliberately from childhood. You get what I'm saying? Because I was just a little
Yeah.
bit too smart for my own good, especially coming from my household. I was too smart. I was too fast. I could ask you all the questions. You know what I mean? So like
Hmm.
they try to kill that out of me. So I was depressed because I couldn't talk to nobody because I felt like every just being myself, like who I am right now with you, that wasn't good enough.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
was depressed. So that was the first epiphany. That was like a couple epiphanies. I remember walking to like a Burger King, and as I was walking to Burger King, because I only had like $4 in my pocket to eat. So I walked to Burger King. I remember cats were stopping and staring at me. Rabbits, bunnies were stopping and walking closer to me. Squirrels, people that were, when I was walking into the Burger King, everybody was smiling at me. Everybody, no one was just ignoring me going out. People were, hey, how you doing? And I was just like,
Yeah. Yeah, people can read on your face when you like feel like shit. They're like, "Ooh," it's like you put like a red flag on your face to stay away and you don't realize it.
yeah. And I think for a lot of my life, I was living like that, like without, because I wasn't aware of the shit, so I was just walking around with that negative energy, or just walking around with the moper mentality of just looking, straight past through people, especially because you from Jersey. We just look past people. We don't even, you know what I mean? We
Yeah.
walk strong, we walk fast, and I'll look through you. I won't even
Yeah.
like acknowledge that you're right next to me, even though we touch shoulders on the way in. You know what I mean? And you was on the way
Right.
out. So just being able to get a little bit more conscious, that was like the first time. And then after that, I took it again, like 2 days after that, and then that's when I had my ego death. I was literally walking around in circles in the fucking living room of his house, like, oh shit, I'm gonna die. Oh shit, I'm gonna die. Oh shit, I'm gonna die. Oh shit, I'm just gonna dance right now because I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Yo. And then when it hit me, boom, it was like that shit shattered me. I was crying for like, no, my girl's trying to call me. She cannot do this right now. Um, I I was gonna like I was crying for like 6 hours, just tears running
Damn.
down my face. I was crying of laughter and joy because the 5-MeO, the shit that I took lasted 6, 7, 8 hours strong,
Wow.
where you couldn't even move. You'd be walking around, you'd be crippled and shit. Like that shit fuck with your spine and everything. You just had to chill the fuck out somewhere.
See, like acid's totally different. You just want to stretch. You want to realign everything because you've been hunched over from the depression for years. So I've never tried. What was that like the toad venom or something?
That wasn't the toad. It was resynthesized, but it was actually the dipped. It was 5-MeO dipped, I want to say, which is, it actually takes it's kind of close to ketamine in a way. It kind of takes all the music, all the sound, and it brings it down. It slows it down and it brings it down to a deeper pitch.
Okay.
So everything is like, and my body was buzzing. The inside of my chest was, I felt the energy. I was aware of the fact that I was, how people say we're energy. I felt that shit. That shit was for 8 hours strong. That shit didn't go away,
God damn.
and I couldn't speak. Everything I said didn't make any sense. I probably was good. I was probably on the edge of dying, to be honest with you. Meanwhile, my mind was going, this is that, and how about this, and look at that. It was doing all the shit that people say DMT does, because I never took DMT.
Hmm.
But I watch videos and people say that they go, what is this? How about that? What is this? How about that? What is this? How about that? Like, that's what people would say. So my mind was doing that without any visuals. I wasn't getting any visuals.
Hmm.
Everything was regular. It was just dim, but my mind was hitting me with everything, and it was just so beautiful, and it was just I was just like astounded. I was like, oh shit, what the fuck? Oh my god, I just realized that. The realizations was just smacking me. I was like, oh fuck.
Dude, honestly, that's like what sobriety is for me now. Like you get all the you realize like all the emotions that like come up you were just like numbing for a while. Like you don't I don't really need psychedelics anymore to get like I don't need to be fucking everything about my life that's wrong to be fucking punched into me in 4 hours. Like I would rather like deal with one epiphany a day, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you. I think, but you probably needed that to start you off to get you into that mindset. Now you can just look for it at when you want to. You can find it in different situations. You can sit down and be like, oh shit, look, I'm doing that again. And,
Mhm.
redirect yourself. But before that, I think a lot of people are not getting those messages clear enough because them shits is really, really low and dug into them. So without some psychedelic shit, they can't, you know what I mean? It's not registering. Now that we
Oh
got
yeah.
the boost, maybe every now and then, like for me, I would like I want to do shrooms soon because I did some shrooms before I went to vacation in Orlando, but it was just just sat around. Didn't even get to giggle like that. I got little feels, talked some shit with my girl for like 3 hours, and that's it. But excuse me,
Wait, you were
I
saying
plan to go deep.
it was 5-MeO DMT?
DIPT,
DI.
dipped.
So that was a research chemical that was legal, right? Okay, yeah,
It
yeah.
it was, I think it's illegal, but it was a research chemical. I got it in Ohio. Motherfuckers in Ohio, man. They were doing everything. They were synthesizing everything. Anything you wanted, they had it in Ohio. They have some science labs out there, and there's a lot of fucking cowboys out there. They just make shit now.
Just farming and getting woke. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Um
yeah, which is crazy.
yeah, no, I had a like for a while after the acid, I thought the answer was to just do psychedelics all the time. I know. Did you ever have that? Or like do like some kind of like I don't know.
Sometimes I would trick myself and go, well, I need maybe if I just do a little bit of psychedelics every day, a little bit, and but then I
Microdose.
realized, yeah, microdose, and that helps. Like, say for instance, if you're doing something creative, you got a project coming up, and you go, okay, I got a project coming up, I got a month to get this shit done. Then yeah, go get yourself whatever you need, and then use it for that month, and cram it out. If you cram it out, if you're that type of artist, that shit'll help. But
Mhm.
if you think you're gonna take it little by little, and every day you're just gonna be a better person or some shit, that shit ain't gonna happen. What I realized pretty early, my girl's coming, she gonna yell at me because I didn't pick up the phone. But what I realized what I realized earlier was that you can't do it constantly, that you had to give yourself a little, even though I don't want to, honestly want to do it all the time because I like the feeling initially, but you have to give yourself some breaks. You got to give yourself 3 months, half a year, and then
Mhm.
come back half a year and be like, okay, now I went through this, that, and the third. Let me sit down and see what the fuck, is what in my brain now,
Yeah,
you
cuz if you
know?
don't integrate a trip, it's almost like when you go into the next trip, it's a bad trip because you're like, what you just had all these realizations and you did nothing about it in your life and you're coming back thinking learning the same lesson is going to change you somehow instead of doing the fucking legwork.
Exactly. You got to apply it. You got to apply it. If you ain't applying it, you know what I mean? You might just go and be like, oh, what are you doing here? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing
Yeah.
here? Why are you acting like that? So, yeah, that's true. I always feel like you need time to process this shit anyway, because I'll be sitting on the toilet 3 months from the trip, and then oh shit, I remember that thing that I got reminded of while I was on the trip, and now that makes sense because of this situation that just happened to me today.
Yeah, like going back to the well.
Yeah, and if you try to overdo it, it's almost like passing the point of diminishing returns. Is that how you say that shit? Where you're like,
Yeah.
you just took in too much information, and now what you did with it, you have to squander it because you ain't fucking. There's no way you can hold on to everything and analyze everything individually. Shit's
Yeah.
just gonna start deleting. You know what I mean? Life goes
Yeah, yeah.
on. Shit just starts getting deleted. So you gotta. So I don't think
That's
it's
why like having a trip with one of your best friends I think is the best thing anyone could do cuz like that come down, that the afterglow or whatever they call it, when you like
Mm-hmm.
talk to each other about what you learned about yourselves, and like you're still in the state where it's just like it's not cringe to talk about all your problems, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you're still empathetic and open enough to like genuinely listen to your friends. I feel
Right.
like that's
Right.
the most beneficial, at least for me.
Right. Yeah. I always find it. I find it annoying that we things are cringe to talk about yourself. You know what I mean? Like, and and I understand why, because it's like a lot of times when people start talking about themselves, they, especially if it's new to them and it's a tender wound still, they're gonna go into that shit with like, oh, yo, this happened, it's a sentimental thing. They want to be more theatrical about the sentimentality of whatever the fuck's going on in their life. But the point of this shit is actually just being honest with yourself, as you know, trying to get people as young as possible, and just other people that aren't really being showing up as themselves because they feel like they got to show up as somebody. Like, say for instance, we're doing a podcast right now. I'm not trying to show up as a podcaster. I'm just trying to show up
Hmm.
as a person. This is how I am, man. I talk like this. I talk some shit. I throw little jokes. I get serious. You know what I mean? Like I say,
Definitely.
you know what I mean, 100 times. I move. I talk with my hands. This is who I am, and I wanna just do that shit confidently and potent enough that people can do it too and take that shit with them somewhere. Like, whether it's they're doing a live or whether they're just using it in everyday life. Hey, guess what? I just went through that shit. I actually felt a little insecure about that shit. I'm bugging right now. I just felt insecure. Why did I feel insecure? Be that person that just puts it out there like a comedian on everyday life, on
Hmm.
an everyday basis. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No, I feel you. I
That's the
hate
that's the goal.
no, I like that. That's why I like that you wanted to like podcast kind of you referred to Ari's podcast, because I feel like a lot of comedians when I hang out with, I mean, of course at a show or a mic, you're outside, you're there for with a purpose, you're there to riff with each other. So when you're outside, they're smoking cigarettes, I'm smoking a vape. Of course we're going to just, have mindless idiots, idiotic thoughts just going on. But
Right.
I feel like on a podcast or when you're just like, you're talking to someone who's not a comic, it's not their profession. Comics always try to interject comedy into things that don't need it. Like sometimes someone needs to hear your genuine thoughts on something because it'll help them, you know?
Right. Well, if you're around a lot of comedians, everybody's trying to be just like you're around anybody if it's a lot of people that are creative, everybody's going to be more try to be more creative than the next person. Like, even we weren't comedians, we were just artists, rappers, and musicians and shit. And when we got together, everybody would end up getting into this thing where they want to be the funniest person, they want to be the most outlandish, they want to say the funniest joke, they want to, and most of the time, unless I had one that was ready to go, that was perfect in the moment, boom, here it goes. I'll just shut the fuck up and fall back. I'll listen to music and I'll let everybody else do the bullshit.
Hmm.
Unless you want to come and talk to me. And when you come and talk to me, I'm going to be in the corner like a weirdo. And you're going to have to talk to me in the, the room, you know what I mean, in the realm that I'm in, which is probably most likely going to be a little bit more either woo or like coming through about mental health, mental illness and shit, and be like,
Hmm.
oh man, do you see what's going on here? This, that. Because the rest of everybody else just wants to try to fight for the attention and say, oh, well, everybody's ego's competing. I'm the funniest in the room. Especially if you comedian, like that's what y'all running off of. Y'all running off of like, I'm the funniest person, or I'm gonna try to be the most fun, or I'm gonna be successful. I'm be one of the great. So sometimes it's
Right.
hard to shut that shit off. If y'all young, if you fucking in your 20s, shit, you ain't gonna shut it off. You're gonna be trying to like, how many
Yeah.
jokes can I get? Could I get off tonight?
Well, I say with like comics, like it's just more natural to just, keep going with jokes because it's like your profession, It's like if you're an engineer and say you're going to school for engineering, you're going to be always talking about like a design or like how to improve something related to that because that's how you all relate to each other. But like I use comedy in life to like, I try to get a stranger to laugh or a friend, and that opens them up to like, maybe giving me some wisdom or listen or being receptive to actually like wise shit that we could tell each other, because it just makes you more comfortable. Like a lot of people, like I've always been like two sides of the coin, like a complete idiot. I'm saying something completely dumb and just trolling, or I'm saying something completely like, not like it sounds egoic, but like, I'm trying to be wise, I'm trying to like put something out there that's worth saying. You don't want to just be a fucking vapid mouthpiece.
Right. No, right. You're right. That's usually how I try to attack life, and that's kind of like that's a good direction because you're just trying to give balance. So you balancing yourself out. That's probably the psychedelics. You don't even know that's happening. You're like, well, I'm funny, but I'm also serious. Like I could be on some serious shit. I can be enlightening if I want to, but I like to joke around with y'all, and I don't want to be fucking serious all the fucking time.
Right. I
Which
feel
is,
like that's you with your music. Like you could definitely tell that your music, like, because like you have to be edgy in music a little bit. You have to push some kind of boundary. So like take your influences and go further with them. But with your music,
right,
you could definitely tell like you're pushing on something that a lot of people don't really go to because maybe mainstream doesn't accept that kind of stuff.
right. Well, mainstream. I think right now, man, they just trying to keep everybody in la la land. They're not really trying to give any kind of education through the music.
Right.
They're scared. I think a lot of people are scared. They're scared if somebody that's really important that has a lot of fans actually goes out and makes a song that makes sense that's really mainstream and broad enough to make sense to the general public, but also comes with a positive message that can change some shit. They don't want that. They just want you to be dumb. Here, be dumb. You want some more
Hmm.
stuff? Look, Corona, unsponsored, unofficial sponsor of the Street Shaman Podcast is the Corona.
Right. And I feel like it's not even for that insidious of a fucking reason. It's just money. It's literally just like it can disrupt their income in some way. So they're
Yeah, it's
just
just money. It's just money. We got to keep this shit going. We got to keep this shit going. And they
but it's
just
like
look
that
at me
with
like,
every sorry, go on.
no, they just go and they just make up the idea that no one wants to hear this shit. This is what we know what they want to hear. They want to hear this shit over here. WAP, wet ass pussy. Go ahead. We need another
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
those.
And
You know.
it's like that with everything. When people are like with I'm sure you go down the conspiracy holes sometimes, right?
Oh yeah,
But
definitely.
it always ends with like they're satanic. And I don't think that's like I think people's brains, it's like if you deal with addiction, you realize you just want more regardless of what makes sense. You just want more money even if you have $5 billion. You want 6. It's not because you like believe in Satan or something.
Right. And then there's also the people that are just competing with the next person. Like, Bezos is probably looking at Mark Zuckerberg or whatever, like, oh, you got that much money. I'm trying to watch what I'm gonna do next.
Mhm.
This, that, like, you listen to rap, so people be like, yo, I'm stunting on y'all. Look at the
Yeah.
house. I just spent this much money. They do it. They do it too. They do it in a like, covert way. But they let people know, look, I'm making this much money.
Right.
I'm winning. Look at the score on the board. I'm winning. And that's addictive too. You know? That's an
Mhm.
addictive thing. Just like because honestly, Nick, what the fuck we gonna do here, man? We're on the spinning rock. What we gonna
Right.
do? What we gonna do? We gotta sit here and blue pill ourselves, man. I know the conspiracies, man. Some of the shit is real, and I know you were saying something about satanic, and that's something that I tell my girl all the fucking time. I hate that they use satanic, demonic. Like, stop with that fucking biblical shit because obviously now you're taking it to the biblical, and now it's either Christ versus the devil or some shit. You ruined it.
Mhm.
They're just greedy, entitled, spoiled dudes that been through the same shit me and Nick been through right here.
Right.
But they just decided to go a different route with it. And I'll tell you the route. The route is never again. So it's never again, whatever it is. Never again will I get picked on. Never again will somebody tell me I'm poor. Never again will I not be able to get the girls I want or drive the car that I want or not, whatever the fuck it is. It's just a never again.
Dude, look at Jeff Bezos. He has like what, like $100 million, and he still felt the need to like get on testosterone and get jacked. Like it's such a vain thing after he already had all the success. It's so dumb. You've heard
That's the
of like
type.
Maslow's hierarchy, right? Or Maslow's.
No, what's that?
So like it's his philosopher Maslow. He had like a hierarchy of needs. And it's basically like they did a study that kind of confirmed this. When you hit like $70,000 in America, once you surpass that, your happiness actually doesn't go up, and in often cases it goes down because you're worrying about money again. So like
Mm,
once you hit that cap, your next like you all of your worldly needs are met, and then your next like need is spirituality. And that's like the next leap that a lot of people don't realize you need to make. Like once your fucking water bill's paid, you got food in your stomach every day, you need to jump to the next thing, like meditate, read the fucking Bible, whatever it is to you, to like give you a belief that there's more than just making $100 billion and having sentient robots taking over the world.
right, right. So that's like the hit a $80,000 a year. Like they said, that's the income that would probably make sense. That's like $80,000 a year or some shit. That
Mm-hmm.
somebody would be comfortable in life. That you really don't need more than that. Um, and then go into spirit. You saying that it's a theory, or what is it exactly that you're
Well,
saying?
it was like a philosopher's theory. Then they did a bunch of studies that kind of confirmed it. And it's like if you're making $30,000 a year, like half of America, you're just worried about money all the time. So you can never really think too much about spirituality, which kind of like I don't think they want people doing that because well, that's a whole other host of shit. But then when you break 80,000 a year, say you're making 120 and you don't meet the next needs of spirituality, you're worrying about money again because you're like, oh shit, now I need to make a bunch of money to feel important because I still feel like shit on the inside because I met those needs and I still didn't feel fulfilled.
Right, right.
You know?
And I don't understand why people don't understand that when they meet the need that they think that's the number, whatever the fuck the number is in their head, when they meet it and they realize that that ain't gonna fulfill them, that they don't realize, okay, I need to do something else. The answer is
Right.
not more.
Yeah.
It's just not, oh, I just need more. This is not, it's because it's not enough. It's because the dude over there has a bigger house than me. I need to go get more. And that's the fucking problem that people are having.
But you can't even blame them, because that's just like how our brain works. It's just like, of course, more,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? Do you,
Yeah. And it's not how our brain works. I wouldn't say, Nick. I would say it's how America works. I think it's the brain washing, the conditioning that we have. That's why, like, even when good example is like, I'm a type of dude, man. I like cute little shit, man. I like the Prius. When the Prius came out and everybody shitted on the Toyota Prius, I liked it. That also has 50 miles on the gallon. It can also do 50 miles on the gallon, right?
mm-hmm.
One of the only cars that still can do 50 miles on the gallon that you can get for like $7,000 and run for 3, 4 more years.
Yeah,
That
my
shit
sister just got one.
when that shit came out, there was a fucking wave of movie clips and TV shows and everybody just shitting on it.
Mm-hmm.
It started with movies, it got into TV shows, comedians, everybody was shitting on it. And it's just the idea of how we think, Ford tough and it's a big truck and shit. And it's like that nigga's taking all the fucking road up and that's America. You come over here with your pussy ass car, I'll run you the fuck over. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
and it's like, dude, if you was just a little bit more like aware of like the situation, if whether you're worried about the gas or whether you just worried about how about I'm driving around. Why do I need to make so much noise? The Prius don't make no fucking noise. I could just drive in the Prius, make no noise. I don't even have to use gas. I go to the fucking gas station, get whatever I need, my Phillies,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, energy drinks or whatever, some beer, and I won't even use gas. I'll just put it on the fucking battery. That
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
Right.
Or do we have to so now we're just gonna shit on the aesthetic of the thing and just discard it, and everything got to be either cool or uncool, or you fell into the uncool market. Now go over there. You could drive that, but we gonna laugh at you when you do.
Right, right. Well, the Prius is like the perfect example of a middle ground because it still uses gas, but at like I mean like not like I don't know if it's sustainable. I'm not a fucking scientist, but it at least attempts to be like a sustainable way to use unrenewable resources. And you don't have to be one of these fucking crazy hippies that have to be like everything has to be electric and all of my power to power my car has to come from panels on my house. So like everyone's
Right.
missing that right now. Like it's either you have to be a full-on fucking communist or you have to be completely free market capitalist. There's like no one's allowed to be a moderate or you're canceled.
Yeah. Like that's part of the narcissism that we're going through right now. Like everybody has like heavy dose of narcissism. So like I might put something on my Instagram, for instance, and you you might not agree with it, right? So you don't agree with it. So now you leave me a 3 paragraph essay on why you don't believe in it. And I don't know you, Nick. I don't know you. I don't know you. I just putting something up because maybe I thought it was funny. Because maybe, you know what I mean? Like the girl that canceled you. Like you just thought that was funny. That was a good line. That was actually, it made sense. You know what I mean? It was ironic to say. Now she want to cancel you. What gives her the right? What gives her the balls to think that she gonna cancel you
Right.
for being you? And who the fuck is she? She ain't
Right.
nobody. Nobody's nobody. You know what I mean? Like we ain't nobody. We just go do your thing. I do my thing. You don't like it, go that way.
Right. You're
What's
not
so
allowed to
hard
be.
with that?
Yeah. No one's allowed to just be different. And I don't think people realize you need people to be different to meet the balance because no one's going to like always be a moderate on everything, you know?
Exactly.
Hey
Exactly.
man, what's your actual name? Because I just keep trying to
Oh,
call you
Max, you
potent.
can call me Potent or Pope, but my actual name is Lionel.
Lionel. Oh shit, okay.
Lionel. Yeah.
Right
So
on.
yeah, man. You want to end this here? We can end this here. And Nick, man, I told you we could do 2 of these shits. You didn't think so. I'm gonna let y'all know right now. People are paying attention to Street Shaman Podcast on Spotify and Deezer and shit later. Nick didn't think we can do 2 different separate podcasts. I was telling him, yo, I'll do one, you do one. He's like, I'm new. I told him I'm new too, motherfucker. I ain't do this shit that long, and we don't know what the fuck we're doing, but we're gonna do it anyway. So it's cool. We did 100. We did 100. We did a hour and 22 minutes, and I'm Nick. I'm gonna get you back on this shit, and then you got to start doing your shit more so I can get on your shit, and you know.
Hell yeah, man. If you guys are if anyone's listening to the end of this, check out I'm putting a new solo podcast out tonight, well tomorrow morning, I guess. Riffin with Nick on YouTube. Or you can follow Soviet Union, that's like my meme channel on YouTube. Or you can follow Sponsor This, or you can follow all three. We love when you fucking, you show support in every way. I promise we'll try to make you laugh. And, hopefully on this podcast we made you think. And it was dope hanging with you, Lionel, or Poe, whatever. What do you prefer? And I don't know.
Post fine, man. Post fine, man. I don't like how you said Lionel. You said that shit insecurely. Nah, I'm not with that. Nah, but man, thanks for showing up. NJ from NJ, that's your Instagram too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, follow my Instagram at NJ from NJ. Nick Johnson, man. Appreciate you, bro. Street
Thanks, man.
Shamans, we out here.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Later.